Okay, so we have here our nearly completed Team Associated SC5M. As you can see, chassis all done. Just finishing up the shocks, waiting for the air bubbles to get out of the oil. Then I'll mount those, and then it's basically complete. Then it's just mounting the electronics and the tires and wheels and everything. So, thoughts on the build? Since I didn't do a build series, because basically this is just like a B5M, just a larger version, those are really my thoughts. It was really easy to just slap this thing together, give it maybe, I don't know, 3 hours or so. If you've built Team Associated kits before, if you built B5s and B5Ms before and T5Ms, this should be a really, really easy kit to put together. It uses a lot of the same parts. It's literally just a bigger version of a B5M. So all of the good things and bad things about the B5M apply to this. So overall, I'd say it was a pretty good build. I think there were maybe 1 or 2 steps where the parts bag labeling was not perfect. Like when you put the gearbox together, you know, the various, I think the VTS portion of the slipper clutch is in like 1 or 2 different parts bags, or it's in a parts bag that's not labeled as a bag you would need for that step. But really, you know, you can see through the plastic in these bags, so you can just kind of just sift through the box and figure out, okay, I need these parts and these parts for this build. It's not a big deal. Other than that, it went together pretty nicely. Again, I reiterate my recommendation when you put together the turnbuckles to first use a little bit of black grease on the threads to help the ball cup thread in, and also more critically is to use some black grease inside the actual ball cup itself. It'll help it slide along the ball stud much more freely. Okay, that's really important. Let's see, what else? The bumpers do assemble a little differently than what they would on the conventional SC10, the older SC10 model. I do like how they assembled the front bumper. You have this kind of elliptical sort of shock absorber here, and that connects, it's a separate unit from the bumper and the shock tower, and you just screw it all together so that it can, this is something that can compress when you have, you know, impacts from the front. And I just think it's a really neat way of designing a bumper. The rear bumper does assemble differently than on the SC10, of course, in part because this is a mid-motor chassis, so the bumper itself doesn't connect in any way to the gearbox. You have these 2 units that come out like this, and then you have this lower unit here, and then that connects to the rear bumper plate with 4 screws, and then you screw this long screw in here to tighten everything up. I don't see any, you know, fundamental problems with this. I mean, it's just a bumper. It just assembles a little differently. The only thing is, if you, for whatever reason, need to remove this rear inner ball stud mount, say you want to flip it over to get the different roll center option, you do have to disassemble the bumper a little bit in order to get to that, because this rear plate here is a little too wide for you to access the 2 screws on the rear shock tower to actually remove this inner ball stud mount. So you would have to remove this, which means unscrewing this here and sort of disassembling the bumper a little bit so you can pull this out and then get to those screws. Let's see. Anything else regarding the build? I do like how they designed the Nerf wings. I know this might seem like something completely unimportant, but it's kind of neat how they just sort of slot into place. And that's actually early in the build, so let me just show you that real briefly here. Right here, so this little plastic unit here has these little ears that come out, and the Nerf wing has little slots where they mount, and you just slot it right in and screw these 2 screws down. And this is different from the SC10, where I think the Nerf wings kind of clip in some weird way, if I remember correctly. So that was kind of different. my main complaint with this build, and I think I would say that when I built the Kyosho laser not long ago, that it was a refreshing experience just building something with a different brand and a completely different apparent philosophy toward how they do builds, is that it reinforced my perception that Team Associated does use way too many plastic bags when they package the kit. So this here is just all of the plastic bags that I had to open up to get to the various parts of the build, and I think it's just complete overkill. So when you put the shocks together, for example, you have a plastic bag to hold just the collar and the O-ring for that collar, and then a separate plastic bag for the bottom seal cap and the O-ring to seal the bottom seal cap. There's 2 plastic bags. Each plastic bag has only like 4 parts in it. So you have 2 screwy metal parts and 4 O-rings. Why not put them all in one bag? Well, they got 2 separate bags for that, and that's for each pair of shocks, so that's 4 bags. And then the screws that screw on to the shock cap, right, that's a separate plastic bag. The O-ring seal arrangement, that's a separate plastic bag. The shock shafts, that's a separate plastic bag. So I think they kind of went overkill with taking, especially for the shocks, all the different shock components and putting them into almost individual plastic bags. I think it's very wasteful. So whether or not that really matters in the end, I mean, for your build, not really. It's just more of an environmental thing from my point of view. The only other complaint I really have is the lack of wheels. As you can see, there are no wheels included in the box, right? These are just some of the remaining parts for the build. That's the gearbox cap and some stuff for the electronics, decals. It does come with a body, right here, fine. You get everything else. You don't get wheels, but when you buy a B5M, you get wheels. I assume with the T5M you also get wheels. So why they're not including a set of wheels with this kit, I don't know. It doesn't make sense, especially since the kit itself is what, like $310. And okay, maybe the body is bigger, so that's more plastic, so that's more expensive. So maybe what you're really paying for with the more expensive kit is a larger body. But wheels are so cheap. Why can't they include them? If they're going to include all of this plastic crap here that you're going to throw out anyway, why not include a set of wheels and go easy on how many plastic bags you use for packaging? I think that would be a smarter way of doing it. Yeah, so anyway, that's pretty much it. Those are my thoughts on the build. Again, it's exactly like a B5 pretty much, or a B5M. But I appreciate if they used fewer plastic bags in their packaging, and if they included at least one set of wheels. That would be nice, especially since the picture of the kit, see, it's got wheels and tires, right? At least give me a set of wheels. I don't like that. Alright, well, that's kind of it for now. I'll mount the electronics. I already have a painted body. And, in time I'll make some running videos of this. So, thanks for watching.